All right, we're going to be joined here in just 1 second by AlenDosSantos, big-time conservative, like one of the most popular, well-known, the biggest, actually, conservative talker in the state of Brazil, in the country of Brazil, I should say. And they didn't like what he was saying. They started shutting him down left and right. If he went back, he would be arrested. He's in the U.S. He's going to give us his thoughts on what's happening. Because, as you know, we've been covering that. I interviewed Eduardo Bolsonaro several times, including right before the election. The other night I had on Marco Antonio Costa again, and we were talking about Alan. Alan's going to join me in just a minute. Don't forget, by the way, if you appreciate what we're doing here, we are brought to you by you. So please go to mypillow.com, use that promo code B66. Sheets, towels, blankets, pet beds, slippers, sandals, mattresses, mattress toppers, and yes, I said mattresses. They'll ship them to you to your door in a box. Check it out. All of it. Towels, robes, pet beds. Let's go to a wide shot. She's here. I guess she was not here on Friday's show, and people were asking about her. She is basking in the blue light of the studio. She is there on her MyPillow pet bed. Delta is here. Friday, she was in the building, but not in the studio. She didn't want to be in here. I guess there was too much activity in the building, so she was partaking in other fun activities. But she is here with us. But Annie said people are asking where she's at. She's fine. And we just filmed a bunch of house-to-house shows yesterday that we'll be showing on Thanksgiving Day. I'll tell you about that more later. And she partook in those as well. So, again, she's on her MyPillow pet bed. Get your pet one. MyPillow.com, promo code B66 for savings, and you support this broadcast. MyPillow.com. MyStore.com, too, the home for American entrepreneurs, started by Mike Lindell. Lots of stuff there, including the My Coffee, medium, light, medium, dark roast, full bean, ground coffee pods. Use that promo code B66. You can also sign up for a subscription and send it as a gift. It'll be the gift that keeps on going all year long. Send the great My Coffee to your favorite friend or family member. You can order it at mystore.com, but be sure to use that promo code B66 for savings. Joining me now is AlenDosSantos from here in the United States of America. Alan, welcome back to the broadcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Bruno. For me, it's an honor to be here. I think it's the third time or second time.
I think it is. It's an honor to have you as well, my friend. We had Marco Antonio Costa on now a few times, and we talked about you the last time, and he said, yeah, if Alan came back, they'd arrest him as soon as he hit the airport. As soon as he landed, he'd be gone. Now, were you born and raised in Brazil?
Yes, born and raised in Brazil, but I can't come back to my country because they want to arrest me with no law.
So when you say they want to arrest you with no law, it's just simply the judges, the Supreme Court has made a ruling, boom, that's it. We say this is what it is, therefore this is what we can do. Nothing that's past your legislative process, just the dictates of people sitting on the Supreme Court.
Exactly, because there is no trial, there is no crime. For example, he wrote crime of opinion, but a crime of opinion is not in our code. And when, for example, when the Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes, he ordered my arrest and deportation, he wrote to the United States government the crime of opinion, but there is no crime of opinion neither in Brazil and the United States. And the treaties between the two countries ask every kind of a deportation, the crime should be crime in Brazil and also United States. But they are so insane right now. They are writing everything, trying to get me. But here I am in the land of the free, and they cannot touch me.
And how concerned are you, though, about being here in the land of the free when you have this Biden administration? I mean, I wouldn't leave anything to these characters, would you? And not to mention, my friend, we got pictures of Lula shaking hands with the then president of Iran, Ahmadinejad, and we hear about them killing journalists around the globe that are former Iranians, you know, like my friend American-Iranian Annie Cyrus we just heard from. I mean, how do you know they won't get some thug group to kidnap you and drag you back to Brazil?
Well, I have this concerning. I protect myself. The United States has its own problems, but it's still far away from what we are facing in Brazil. The difference between Brazil and the United States in this matter is the fact that the government and the authorities, bureaucratically speaking, in the United States, you still do not have this amalgamation between the leftists, the communists, and the government You still have some honest people as a judge in America. In Brazil, this is quite hard to find because it turned it into a communist country. Of course, I'm afraid too in the United States, but I still believe in the Constitution. I can appeal if something happened to me here, something that I cannot do anymore in Brazil. I know America is facing a a kind of similarities between what's happening in Brazil and whole South America and also in the United States, but you still have some voices here, and you need to keep it. For example, I'm streaming on Cloud Hub, where in Brazil I cannot use any tool, not because the big tech is hunting me. Pay attention it. It's not the big tech who's hunting me in Brazil. For example, Google, Facebook, Twitter, they are appealing to the Supreme Court against the decision to ban me. But the Supreme Court is putting a fine, a daily fine, a daily very expensive fine if they keep my account in there. So it's not the presence of my account in Brazil, but in a platform. So it means if I have an account on Instagram, I'm using my 24th account on Instagram because I keep creating it. Uh, if I use an account on Twitter or YouTube, they shut me down not because they decided to, but because there is a judicial decision saying that I cannot be allowed to have a social media.
So you're
it's
telling
kind
me
of different.
So you're telling me that you can't be on these American big tech platforms because if they want to keep working and operating and being in Brazil, they better obey the laws or they're going to get booted. And since the Supreme Court in Brazil doesn't want you on those platforms comply because they want to be able to keep their platforms operating in the country of Brazil. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly.
So tell me about when did you left Brazil in 2020? Was it hard to get out? Did you leave in the middle of the night? Did you have to go through some other process? Because obviously you didn't announce to the government, hey, I'm leaving, because they wouldn't have let you leave, would they?
Well, so far back then, my situation was totally different than now.
Okay.
I left it, as we say in Portuguese, I left in the front door. I showed my passport to the authorities. I took the airplane ticket, and I entered an airplane, went straight to America. So I didn't have any problem in Brazil. I still do not have any problem according to the law. But the problem is, once I was here, still criticizing, still doing my journalism, then they tried somehow to shut me up. And the way they found to do it was freezing all my assets in Brazil. So I lost everything from night to day. And also they ordered my arrest and deportation. But so far, the American law is protecting me. This constitution is still protecting me, and I'm free to talk here.
So when you say they froze your assets, were you able to move any of them over here?
No, I lost all my money. They took it. Even for example, monetizations from Google, Twitch TV, all the stuff. They took all my money. They do not allow me to use my bank account, so I cannot move my money from here legally. Or, I can't take my money from the bank. They took everything from me.
How about property? Did you have any property?
I used to have, but I can't use anymore.
Okay. Wow. All right. So tell me about your relationship with President Bolsonaro. Can you share anything about what's going on there now? Because we saw 3 million people show up in Brazil.
Way more than this.
Was more than 3 million?
Oh, way more. Yeah.
How many?
It's hard to count because every city is concentrating people every day for more than 21 days without stopping. So probably we could reach 3 million people in one day in 2-3 cities. But there are way more than this. People are protesting in front of the headquarters of the army because headquarter of the army is a kind of safe place for us, because this way the governor of the state and the local authorities cannot do anything against these people, because that area is a military area, and the military is the last source of morality in Brazil. And this is why people, we are unarmed. You need to remember that. We do not have the Second Amendment in Brazil. So people unarmed and afraid of the drug dealers, the cartel, and also afraid of the small portion of the cops who are still obeying Alexandre de Moraes. So people are afraid from these people and getting close to the military, asking them for help. Like, for example, arresting, people are asking for the military arrest Alexandre de Moraes and reinstate the law, the rule of law in Brazil.
So, so the folks of Brazil don't have guns by and large, right?
No.
Look at this headline. Lula minister signs order allowing child services to take children away from free election protesters. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I saw that. This is so horrible for us, because this protest is full of kids and old people. It's just a very, very pacific, peaceful. Better saying, a lot of peaceful people, like kids, moms, and old ladies, just protesting every day, chanting the Brazilian anthem, just asking for help for the military. And now they are using there is not a law for this, but they are using some regulations, like, for example, when you let kids out of the school, for example, homeschooling is not allowed in Brazil, so you are kind of obliged to put your kids on school. Now they are saying this is a kind of abuse of parenthood, because you are using kids to protest. But it's so peaceful protest, and now they are using this kind of a regulation to avoid crowd in front of the military headquarters.
Okay, folks, I want you to get a pen and paper real quick, or get your iPhone out. Get ready to take down his website. I want you to be ready to take it down and mark it, share it with family and friends. I heard this guy walked into a restaurant not too long ago that was dominated by a lot of Brazilians, and as soon as he walked in the restaurant, people started pointing at him. They all knew who he was. Apparently, he is very, very, very well known in Brazil, had the biggest conservative show in Brazil, was very well known. And because he was so well known and so popular, that scared the the regime, the communists, and so they went after him and started shutting him down, because they don't want you to have the truth over there. So with that, I think I've given people enough time to get their information, get your information with a pen or paper or their smartphone. How can people follow you online?
Well, right now on Locals, here in America, people can find me on Locals, the Locals app, and mainly on Cloud Hub, C-L-O-U-T,
C-L-O-U-T-H-U-B, Clout, C-L-O-U-T, and then H-U-B, Clout Hub, right?
Yes, cloudhub.com. Because I used to say that all the time in Portuguese for my crowd, so now it was tricky. But on Cloud Hub is the place where I'm talking to my audience. I'm having a huge audience over there, kind of every video with 20,000 views, 25,000. For me, people there still need to look for the link in the website. It's hard for them. It's in English. They can find me there, and also on Locals as Alan dos Santos or Terca Livre. And this is how I'm using to get in touch with people. Sometimes I'm on Instagram too, but it takes 3 or 4 days, and then my account is banned. I'm using my 24th account on Instagram. I will not stop creating
So where else are
because
you
it's not
broadcasting?
Instagram.
Well, where else are you broadcasting? I mean, do you want to come over here and broadcast on Frank's Speech? You can, we can put you, we can get you a platform at Frank's Speech. You can broadcast in English, and then you can do part of the show in Portuguese, or do one show, one English, one in Portuguese, whatever you got to do. But I mean, we can try to help you have a platform here. The question is, will people in Brazil be able to find it, or will they block our website in Brazil?
Well, probably in the future they will block the website, and people will need to use VPN to watch it, as they did, for example, for me on Getter. I was using Getter, but Getter complied with the Supreme Court and banned me. CloudHub is not operating in Brazil, so they don't need to comply to anything. But for me, it would be an honor to use your platform and talk to my people, and also talk to America, because for me, I see as a mission to explain to all American people why this country is still free and why this country needs to be free, because there is no other country in the world with these kind of constitution. Renan, there is something that when I ask people, I see they don't realize how good and how strong is the American Constitution. Can you answer me? I know I am the one being interviewed, but can you answer me how many republic in the world wasn't found with the socialist ideas?
Hardly any. I mean, we are the longest. America is the longest running constitutional republic in the history of the world right now.
And the only one republic that wasn't found with the socialist ideas.
I mean, that's because when we were based, and I know it drives the liberals nuts, a Judeo-Christian worldview that William Blackstone, one of the leading scholars for the Founding Fathers, was asked, what's a constitutional republic? He said, what the divine is ruled on, we don't rule against. Well, the divine ruled in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet. Those are just two things we could talk about right now. So you're absolutely right. But, you know, Alan, are you picking up as you travel? Are you picking up on the fact that sadly so many Americans are not aware of our Constitution? You know, many of our elected officials don't know our Constitution.
I see that all the time. I see that American people are not aware of what's going on here. For example, some people, even scholars, keep saying that in America there is constitutional right. I'm sorry, but there is no constitutional right in America. In America, what we have is God-given rights protected by the Constitution. And that is the big difference between the United States and every country in the world. Because when you say you have rights from a piece of paper, someone can change this piece of paper and say that the rights is different now. But once you have God-given rights protected by the Constitution and say that no one, no matter which position in the government, can change these God-given rights, this is why America is free. This is why America still have freedom, even the globalists and the communists operating together, trying to silence and destroy everyone who is talking against them. In America, I see that people are not paying attention on it. Another fact that I see that people in America still do not understand how the education is important to keep freedom. It's not the politicians, it's not the radio, it's not the journalism, it's the education. And we cannot give our education away. We cannot let our kids in the hands of a liberal or communist, socialist, globalist teacher. And if you lose it, you will lose kind of a 2, 3, 4 generations. And later on, they will be brainwashed. And I mean, with brainwashed people, you can do whatever you want to destroy them, and they will thank you. You know, like they will say, "Oh, thank you so much for destroying my life, and now I have food and entertainment." Wow. Like the Latin sentence says, "Panis et circenses."
So this comes down to the communist revolution in your country. What is President Bolsonaro going to do? I had Edward Bolsonaro on my show about 10 days, a week before the election. I saw one little clip by him in the media. Since then, both of them have been very quiet. What are they doing? I also did see where they're calling on the defense minister to step down, who was looking into the fraud with the machines. What is he going to do? What is the military going to do, if you had to guess? And then the third question is, am I right to be concerned about Eduardo and his family and his father? I mean, while he's president, should he not get on an airplane while he has this command of the power of the presidency and get out of there and land here in America and let his clock tick out if that's what he's going to do? Let his administration expire from America? I fear him letting his administration expire sitting on the ground there in Brazil subjects him to immediate arrest.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm concerned about it, and I do believe they are in danger right now. But there is a point. Different than Venezuela, for example, the military are absolutely patriotic. So they are not in the hand of the communists yet.
Wait a minute. I'll make sure I understand what you just said. Unlike Venezuela, the military in Brazil is very patriotic. The military is not about to hand off the government to the communists. Is that what I just heard you say?
Yes, definitely.
So are we expecting the military, not Bolsonaro necessarily, are you expecting to see something happen with the military general stepping forward and putting a stop to this, not Bolsonaro himself?
But the military obey one of the three powers. That's what our constitution says. If you're one of the three powers, the legislative or judiciary or executive power, if you one of them call the military to restore the rule of law, they will obey it. So according to my sources in Brazil, I have a very strong hierarchy, military sources, and they are just waiting for Bolsonaro to order to arrest Moraes and put the things back. Back on the law and order again.
Whoa!
They are just waiting for this. So this is why nobody. I can't say I know what's going to happen, because nobody knows what Bolsonaro will decide. If he will decide to give orders to the military to arrest Moraes, because Moraes is doing everything that he can to destroy the Constitution. We do not know yet. We are expecting it, and this is what people are asking on the street. So there is no doubt to what people are asking on the street. People are asking Bolsonaro to give orders to the military to arrest these communists, not only on the judiciary power, but also Lula da Silva and so forth. So this is what people on the street are expecting right now.
When you say Moraes, is that the same individual that I call Lula?
No, Moraes is the Supreme Court justice.
Okay, so you're saying that people are calling for the military to arrest one of the Supreme Court justices?
Not only one, but a lot of them.
How many do you have? 6?
Oh, we have 11 right now.
11. I don't know why I thought 6, but you have 3 that make up your electoral Supreme Court, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I've had to get a crash course on Brazil. I also had to figure out your predominant language is Portuguese, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me this in conclusion. I could interview you all night. I'm going to get you back. You need to be a regular here. And yes, definitely let us know if we can help by setting you up, a channel by which to broadcast. We have people that watch us out of Iran. And then they contact Annie, who was just on, and say, hey, Annie, make sure you and Brandon cover this. And these are people in Iran. We have folks in Brazil that are watching us, that are contacting. I just heard from Marco the other night. I guess people are watching us in Brazil, saying things to him. We're hearing from other people in Brazil who email us directly. We're hearing from people in various parts of the world that know we're speaking up for them. And what's the interesting thing about it, Alan, is that all of them are longing for freedom. They all want freedom. And they're watching our broadcast, and they're emailing to let us know they're watching and telling us things, because we're one of the few broadcasts, I guess, that will concentrate on what's happening in their country of Brazil or their country of Iran.
Do you know why people are watching you? Because we want the true news. We are tired of fake news. For example, right now in Brazil, we have protests among the country in almost every big city in my country, but the media is totally blocking these news from the people. So if you are Brazilian and you are at home watching TV, it's kind of it's like nothing happening. Nothing is happening in Brazil. But if you go to the social media, you're gonna see every city with a huge crowd protesting in front of the headquarters. So this is why freedom of speech is so important. One of our enemies in Brazil is the outlet media, this big media. They are silencing everything that's happening, and also blocking people for them to not see what's happening. Because imagine if the media, I mean, I'm not asking for every journalist get an opinion about what's going on in my country, but if they at least publish a story, or if they just report what's happening, even criticizing, would be totally different, because people, you would see what was going on and then see, oh, I agree with them, I'm going to the headquarters too. They are not even reporting what's going on. So this
Wow.
is why we are desperate, calling for media outside of Brazil report it, because in Brazil the media is part of this destruction of our constitution,
Well, just like
together
here,
with
the
the
media,
communists.
the media and the educational system here is part of the destruction of our country. Absolutely. So people can follow you at Clout, CLOUT, clouthub.com. Just search for Alan DosSantos, correct?
Yes.
All right. You know, look, your time is busy. You're busy, but you are welcome here as often as you want to
Thank
come
you
on
so
here
much.
to give us an update. And we would like to get an update as much as we can from you. So just keep us posted. Let Liz know you're welcome here. If I don't hear from you or Liz, I'll reach out to you. But our audience is very concerned about Brazil. We've all fallen in love with the Bolsonaro family through Eduardo, who we've been with a couple times in person and then on Skype as well. So we all feel very personally involved in watching this all take place for many reasons, and we're very concerned about. Well, it's what Lenin said in 1924 before he died. He said, "We'll take Eastern Europe, we'll take Asia, and then we'll surround the United States and collapse it from within." And they're surrounding us, and now they're trying to take Brazil.
Yeah, you need to be aware, because the enemies are within. We need to be aware of the enemies of the United States, the enemies of Brazil. They're not operating like a external enemies. They pretend to be patriotic. They pretend to be. They pretend to care about the poor, but the first thing they do is get closer to the billionaires, the bank owners, and the first thing they do is block all the news and buying the biggest media, just to shut down everyone who criticizes them. So be
Absolutely.
aware of this, and thank you so much for having me here. And let people in America know this Constitution is the last bastion of freedom.
Amen
Thank
to
you so
that.
much. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. We'll be praying for you. Ask our audience to pray for you and to follow you and spread the word. Thank you, Alan. Alan
Thank you.
DosSantos
Bye bye.
checking in, folks. Pray for Alan. Pray for his family. Pray for everyone involved. Pray for the folks in Brazil. Pray for the Bolsonaro family. Wow. Pray for the military in Brazil. Whew.